Well, and I'm going to pick up on something you just said, which is the failure of the media to do their job. And as a matter of fact, I mean, immediately, as opposed to really call these guys out and, not really challenge them, now all of a sudden they're reporting. It's like they're reading Republican talking points about the border. All of a sudden we have a brand new caravan that's heading for the border. They just, I get it. Their numbers got wiped out because of corporate consolidation, and they got bought out, and reporters got fired, and investigative units got shut down. But can you guys just do something more than print the freaking RNC talking points and act like you're doing the news? Can you please just do that?
Well, then if you're a reporter, have some dignity and leave, or stand up for what's right, like John Harwood did, which made he got forced out of CNN because he refused to sit there and play the, hey, if Republicans say A and Democrats say B, it must be somewhere in the middle, as opposed to like the numerous Republicans who've either been under investigation, who've been indicted, we act like it's just Donald Trump, right? It's not Byron Donalds, who's a former criminal. It's not Jim Jordan, and being investigated for what happened at Ohio State with the rapes. It's not Jim Comer being accused by his ex-girlfriend of beating her when they were in college. We could go on and on. Marjorie Taylor Greene has had numerous charges against her, including sedition, in which she almost got kicked off the ballot when she had to go to a court. Lauren Boebert just went running to another district because she can't win in a +6 Republican district. That's too difficult for her. Again, that's what happens after you watch too much Karate Kid and play wax on, wax off at Beetlejuice. See, I can say that, can I?
Yes.
I don't know what to do, because these people are so obviously out of their depth. They're so obviously jokers and clowns and criminals and misfits that any honest media that was trying to even slightly do its job would have to point out the vast difference between the two parties. Are there bad Democrats? Bob Menendez, some Democrats that do bad stuff? Absolutely. But the enormous difference between your average Democrat and your average Republican, one comes from a clown authoritarian party, and the other ones are trying to govern. And the media, that again, none of this stuff could happen if the media did its job, which is, again, to let voters and the people of the country know what reality is, so then we can act upon that when we vote, when we go out and we, invest our money, when we do various things, so that we understand these things, as opposed to just pretending everybody's the same because we don't want to take sides, as if pointing out the truth is taking sides.
Well, and they don't. It's kind of one of those things where it's gotten so bad with some of the media. And by the way, you do your point about you can leave and go. There are a lot of great alternative media outlets right now that are out there doing great news, not only on a national level, but on local levels too. Find them. They're out there, and support them, subscribe to them. Absolutely. Because they need your help. But it's kind of one of those things where when you look at this, they'll themselves put out polls which will say, oh, Donald Trump is winning Generation Z by 20 points. I'm like, what freaking planet would you even be on for that to make any sense? That black voters are going to go for Trump by 40 points. They can't even get in the way of their own numbers that say, okay, that doesn't make any sense. That's not right. And yet they still run with it and try to push this narrative. It's not only that. My
favorite one is when they report something and one of their stupid polls, which they know is wrong, and they still report it because they did it and they want the clicks. And then they have to even admit in the article that the poll is probably wrong, which I think recently happened. I'm trying to remember if it was the Washington Post or the New York Times.
I think it was both.
Probably both. I've reserved so much of my ire for the New York Times over the years, because they set agendas in so many cities like mine, and I think yours, where smaller newspapers end up getting a lot of their kind of views and content of what's put out by the so-called paper of record, which it's nothing close anymore. But now with the Washington Post pushing Greg Sargent out, who was literally one of their best reporters, who reported on the democracy beat, I've now canceled my subscription there too. I'm done with them also. So Los Angeles Times, New Republic, Atlantic, those are some of the ones I'll read. As you said, plenty of alternative media. I'll watch your show. I'll watch YouTube shows, Ring of Fire and Jesse Dollamore and Tony Michaels and Bob Seska's podcast. I go on Stephanie Miller. I'll watch her show. I'll watch people that are telling the truth. I'm done with the garbage and the lies and the stupid he said, she said. I don't need to be treated like I'm a second grader. Like, oh my God, it may hurt if you tell the actual truth of who is responsible for what's going on.
Well, Heartland Signal, Minnesota Reformer, Blue Stem Prairie. I'll throw some other ones out there. Just fantastic.
Heartland Signal's terrific. I should have
Yeah.
mentioned them. Yep. I mean, I can sit
Absolutely
here and mention there are some great folks doing. ProPublica has been fantastic, but I mean,
Exactly.
I kind of feel like if I think ProPublica is nonprofit, right? I kind of feel like that's the future of this. That we need to get nonprofit media set up that really actually is interested in covering the news and not just clicks and being stupid both siders, because it's killing our democracy.